If it's sunny, I garden. It's sunny, so the diagonal of the square is incommensurate with its sides. Real-life example. An unconfirmed but still illuminating anecdote relates that Euler and Diderot, the former Europe's greatest mathematician, the latter the scourge of its political religious establishment, were once engaged in a public debate about the existence of God. Euler supposedly opened with the gambit, "Sir, a plus b to the power n over n equals x. Hence God exists. Answer, please." "Hence God exists. Answer, please." To this, Diderot supposedly had no answer. The mistake. The term non sequitur encompasses pretty much every other fallacy there is. The argument asserts that a conclusion follows from the premise, whereas it doesn't. Each species of fallacy simply determines in what precise manner the presented conclusion is unwarranted. So, affirming the consequent is technically a non sequitur, because the form of the argument indicates that the conclusion cannot follow from the premises. An appeal to anger is a non sequitur because nothing follows from the fact that I'm angry about something, and so on and so forth. If the non sequitur is a fallacy in its own right, it will simply be one where the conclusion does not follow from the premise, and where this cannot be subsumed under another subtype of fallacy. The apocryphal Diderot-Euler exchange is an example of this. The theorem a plus b to the power n over n equals x implies nothing about God's existence or non-existence. Euler didn't commit any specific kind of fallacy. The premise of his argument was simply irrelevant to its conclusion. The comeback. You need to point out that the conclusion and the premises have nothing to do with each other. Typically, you will need to do so by recognizing what kind of fallacy you're dealing with and responding appropriately. However, if the non sequitur can't be reduced to another fallacy, as with the Euler-Diderot example before, then you should ask your opponent to spell out his reasoning a bit more. Exactly how does this theorem show that God exists? The Euler-Diderot case does highlight a particularly pernicious use of this fallacy. Cases in which your opponent's argument tries to blind you with science, or, more accurately, by applying pseudo-scientific concepts where they don't belong. So your opponent may try to justify some spiritual mumbo-jumbo by appealing to quantum physics. See, for example, this quote from Deepak Chopra. "Quantum healing is healing the body-mind from a quantum level. That means from a level which is not manifest at a sensory level. Our bodies ultimately are fields of information, intelligence, and energy. Quantum healing involves a shift in the fields of energy information so as to bring about a correction in an idea that has gone wrong. So quantum healing involves healing one mode of consciousness, mind, to bring about changes in another mode of consciousness, body." In such a case, you should ask, politely but firmly, how these concepts actually support your opponent's crazy inferences. Even better, you might ask how many quantum physicists also believe in quantum healing. Significance. This fallacy embraces nearly every other fallacy there is. It derives from the Latin "does not follow." The conclusion simply does not follow from the premises.